talking to Francisco, who recently landed his first data analytics job. So Francisco, I'd like you to tell a little bit about your background prior to joining Coursera. So, what education did you have? What schooling? What other jobs? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. So my main, I guess, previous experience has been a lot in like sales. So sales and like retail sales, selling insurance, mostly in communication. As far as like education and things of that nature, I was going to college, but I decided not to complete it. I was pursuing a degree in finance, but in my last year, I decided, it probably wasn't for me. And so that's why I kind of navigated towards sales, because I knew, learning how to communicate should be a very beneficial skill to learn. So yeah, sales and insurance is mainly my background.
And so why did you decide to kind of make a pivot and look at data analytics instead of doing, for example, tech sales?
Yeah, so it was during insurance. When I was doing insurance, my mentor really taught me how I can take the data that I'm, doing from the calls and actually organize it in a way where I can be a little more profitable in terms of like knowing what areas to focus on. And so at that point, I really started to know or realize how important gathering data is, cleaning it up, things of that nature. So I already had like a little taste of data analytics, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
And so as I started to look more into, I guess, a little bit of data analytics, I started to think, it's probably a career path I would like to pursue.
Right.
That's why I found Coursera.
Okay, and how did you end up? You sort of started to get into it, but how did you hear about Coursera?
Yeah, so it was mainly through TikTok. I saw individuals who have taken course careers and either landed roles in IT or in data analytics itself. And so at first I was kind of brushed it off, kind of like how you usually do it. But as I kept feeding me, I decided to take a look, and I started reading into like all the different areas Coursera offers, from like tech sales all the way to data analytics, IT, or HR. And I thought data analytics would be, something I would like to do. And I ended up reading the description, going through that free course, and then I ended up purchasing the actual course itself.
And as you went through the course, did you have any of so the course teaches Excel, SQL, Python, and Tableau. You probably had experience with Excel, but not the other ones? Am I guessing right?
Yep. I had experience with Excel, but like SQL, Tableau, and Python, those are all new to me.
Yep.
So those were, a challenge in itself. But
gotcha.
The course did explain everything well, which I'm sure we'll kind of get into it here in a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So since we're talking about it, so what was your experience going through the course? Did you just do the videos, or did you end up using the Discord and like the teaching assistants a lot to figure things out, or how was your progress?
Yeah. So Excel, because I already had some background in it, I pretty much kind of breezed through it, I guess you can say. Yeah. It was when I started like taking advantage of the Discord and the teachers and the teaching assistants, was when I started learning SQL. SQL was a challenge in itself. I had to constantly watch the videos over when I was doing practice problems in the videos. You do the practice problems kind of, I don't know, after learning a couple of things to do. I would try to pause it and do it on my own, just like you said. Sometimes I would do it. Sometimes I would get absolutely stuck. I would just have to keep watching the videos until like I finally learned how to do it. And then of course, taking advantage of teaching the assistants to help me out to solve my problems.
Okay. And so Tableau was not really an issue because it's all graphical user interface, right? With SQL, you're doing more like programming. You get the wrong syntax, the things like 99% correct, but one thing wrong, and then it just doesn't.
Yeah, one letter, yeah. One character wrong. For Tableau, I think, it wasn't as big of a challenge as SQL. There was a challenge to it a little bit, just because there's so much you could do with Tableau to organize the graphs and the data to make it look as presentable as you would want it to be. So there was so much to it. There was a little bit of a challenge to it, but not as much as like SQL or Python.
Yep. And then how about the final exam? Did you take the finals, the proctored and unproctored portions? Did you take those once, or did you need to go through them a couple times?
So luckily, I passed for the final exam. The unproctored one, I passed. I passed simply because I kept preparing for it. So I kept going through the videos over again, and I kept practicing, the practice unproctored and the practice final exam. I kept doing those over and over and over simply because I really needed to get the information down into my head. But it was a lot of practicing and preparing to finally take the final exams. But luckily I passed on my first try for both of the exams.
How long do you remember did it take you to go from like signing up for the full course to completing it?
It took me about 2 to 3 months, I believe, to finish everything, and that was me like making that the priority. I really wanted to, get a job in data analytics and move away from that current role I had.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing it every single day, trying to get through as much as I can. Really, put to the gas. Yeah, but yeah, I know some days I didn't do it, but it was my main priority.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So do you know, like 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week? What would you say you were putting in?
Like an hour and a half.
An hour and a half. So you were steady most every day, hour and a half, 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
You got through it all. Okay. And then once you finished, what steps did you take to land a role?
Yeah. So the steps I did was I knew I was going to take advantage of the coaching services that you guys offer. Because I knew my resume had to be fixed up in order to be tailored for data analytics.
Yep.
Yes, at the end of the course, you kind of go through that the graduate portal, and they help you fix your resume up. I fixed it up. I did it, but I still think I needed some more tailoring because I didn't really know much about the resume. So I reached out to her.
Yeah.
So I had a session with her, and she helped me. She answered all my questions. She helped me fix up my resume. She told me a bunch of mock interview questions that they might ask me, as well as fixing up my LinkedIn. So she did a phenomenal job. I'm glad I went to her. And then I think she really gave me an advantage, or she really helped me prepare to land the role that I'm at.
Yes, I mean, so far everybody I've talked to who's landed roles either worked with one of our coaches or their own, that they found, but they had somebody to help look over and tighten up their resume.
It's definitely a must, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, you can do some of the work yourself, kind of get into better shape, but I think you need a second pair of eyes on it.
Oh, yeah.
And then did you just apply to open positions? Like, what was the...
Yeah, so at first I was applying to open positions. I was kind of simply just applying on LinkedIn, on Indeed. And then I started networking out to some of my friends who were in the logistics industry, asking them if they had open positions at the company. Luckily, I came across one of my friends who did have an open position that just kind of opened up.
Yeah.
And I applied to the position. I told them, hey, if you can, I guess, put in a word for me, here's my resume, things of that nature. And then after I applied, it was about 2 days after they finally reached out to me, did the phone interview, things of that nature. And then I think that following week, I did a second in-person interview.
Yeah. That
second in-person interview was with 3 people. It was with the HR manager, my boss, and his boss. They really just asked me a bunch of behavioral and situational questions. They didn't really ask me that much about my data analytics experience, except if I knew Excel, because it's a big part of the job.
Right.
It didn't really require me to know SQL, Python, and Tableau. That day, after my second interview, I only had 2 interviews.
Yeah.
That day, about 2 hours later, they sent me an offer letter.
Awesome.
So it was only a 2-round interview. It was a pretty quick turnaround. I think it was about 2 weeks for that process to get that job. But in all my total job search, I guess it was pretty short, to be quite honest with you. If anything, it was like within a month, I got that. I learned that role.
Did you hear back on any of the other applications you put in, or was it just that you'd apply and thanks or whatever?
Yeah, so I applied to a couple ones. Some I didn't even reach back out. I never got. Yeah. Even like no thank you, we're not moving forward with you. I probably only got back one that was like no thank you. But when I finally finished the course, fixed up my resume, and that's when I started mass applying, because I didn't want to apply to jobs without being, I guess, quote unquote perfect and ready to go. Yeah. So I barely applied to jobs. I did apply to some, but not as like a mass, like over 20 or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it was within a month where I got the job.
Right. Okay. So from signing up to landing the job, you had a really short time period, right? It's like less than 4 months. It sounds like.
Yeah.
About 3 months to do the class, and a month, 3 months to do the class in 1 month. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so, can you talk about like it sounds like the position is like in person. Is that right?
Yeah. So it's a hybrid role. So I'm 2 days in the office, three days at home. I'm currently doing training. So right now for the first month I'll be in the office.
Gotcha.
But to talk about the role just a little bit, the title is like a rating analyst for a logistics company. So basically we're just looking at invoices and bills, all this data that the logistic company gets for the trailers and things of that nature. We're organizing it and we're simplifying the process. That way there's not many like a middleman. So basically what I'm trying to say is we're just trying to simplify this process so that the bills go through the system automatically and they won't spit out an error or something like that. So it's a lot of Excel, it's a lot of looking at the data, organizing it, and problem solving, a lot of problem solving.
Nice. But if you're automating, there may also be room to build in other tools. Like you have to see as you get more acquainted with it, like using Zapier or Python to script some of these things, or even VBA, Visual Basic. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. And are you comfortable talking about pay range?
Yeah. So it was about from 50 to 60 for the entry level role.
Yeah, but I mean, for an entry level, I think that's very typical, and you're going to build skill.
Oh yeah,
and grow from there, right?
Yeah, even in the graduate portal, I forgot who was teaching it. The graduate portal, he even said I think even you said that when you're a job searching at the end, it's very typical that for an entry level role, you're going to start at 50. Yeah, 50 to 60 maybe, and then from there, in the logistics industry, the opportunities are endless. So. You could just work your way from there. So,
other thoughts? So, just to ask, would you recommend course careers, or do you have, thought for people who are looking at a new career, trying to pivot?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend course careers just because you could learn anything from data analytics to HR, to tech sales, IT, and all these other different career paths we can explore. I can't speak for every single individual course just because I've only taken yours, but going through yours, you're very, very detail oriented and explaining what the foundation of what you need to learn. There's a lot of problems within course careers so you can actually apply what you're learning and really stick in your head. And of course, they help you. You have the teaching assistants to help you with any issue you're having. They help you fix up your resume. They offer the coaching services kind of towards the end, which I would definitely recommend to have. Everyone's kind of there to help each other out. Everyone, we all want each other to get a job and, expand into a new career. So I would definitely recommend it. I think, honestly, I wouldn't have the job, course careers, or even going through the coaching with Mary. I think she really helped me out, fix up my resume to help me get the role that I have right now.
Yeah, I think the thing for other people is just to remember you did put in a lot of effort, like an hour and a half a day along with your job, right? It wasn't like that was the only thing you had going on in your life. Like you were making that hour and a half like most every day to work on the course for a quarter of a year or something like that. So it was a pretty significant effort on your part. And so you might sign up and not really be ready to put in that effort to have that the change that you had. So
I was miserable at my old job. I was so miserable at it, and that was kind of the driving factor. Was I need to learn what I'm being taught as quickly as I can, so I can move out of this job and hopefully land a job in the data analytics.
Okay, so it's like I'm totally miserable at my job. There's a little bit of it that I like, which is using data. Let's go figure out how to use some data. In a better company or whatever, a better environment where. Nice. Yeah, well, I wish you all the best with your new career and everything. And I guess you're at the gym now, so enjoy the rest. I am at the gym. Looking at you, I bet you can bench more than me. So
I'm barely getting there. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah, I would definitely recommend course for the Congress.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat, and best wishes with the new role.
All right, thank you, Lucas. I'll see you then.
All right, take care.